Before we talk about goals, before we talk about plans for 2026, we need to talk about something that almost everyone skips when it comes to looking ahead. Welcome back to the Begin Within Health Show. I am Nate Slager. I am your host. If you are listening to this on January 1st, 2026, at the time of its original release, welcome to 2026. If you're listening to this at some other time, you are still going to love it. You're still going to benefit from it. This episode is not about hype, it's not about reinvention, and it's definitely not about beating yourself up over what didn't happen last year. But before we look ahead, before we set new goals, before we create plans about what we want to achieve, there's something that we have to do that we almost always skip. I mentioned it already. It's reflection. And I've been asked, why do you do this show? What's with the Begin Within Health show? What's the point of it? The point is this. In addition to making health and fitness as simple as we possibly can, and really, I believe we do that from within, it's an opportunity for you each and every week to just slow down and take a few minutes with me and reflect on how your health is currently. What's the state of your health? And what can you do to move it forward and keep moving it forward over time as a result of that weekly reflection? Now, most people don't struggle with health because they don't put in enough effort. They struggle because they keep starting without ever finishing. They keep reading a new chapter without ever finishing the old one. They're putting in effort, but not in the right places. Does that sound familiar? Today, we are going to look back at 2025 honestly, sincerely, and pull out the lessons from it that actually matter, the lessons that are going to help you in 2026 and beyond to set this new calendar year up in a way that actually fits your life, to set you up for success with health and fitness, and not just have some fantasy idea of what life is going to be like. And I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'll do that one too. And then after a few weeks, oh, it didn't work out. Right. So, and also, I want to tell you this, hang on with me to the end because, in addition to this reflection journey that we're going to take, I'm going to make sure that we get all the lessons that we want out of 2025 in terms of health and fitness. At the very end of this episode, I'm going to share with you a formula, a way to create one simple habit that is going to be your focus for 2026, and it will be a game changer for you. So hang on to the end. I'm going to walk you through that and make sure you have exactly what you need to focus on for the year ahead or for the future, whenever you might happen to be listening to this episode. All right, we are going to capture those lessons. I'm going to ask you some really powerful questions. If you are the type of person that loves to journal or just reflect on questions and have them in writing as you do so, I'm going to invite you to get your notes app ready or get your notebook ready, or definitely come back to this episode after you've listened to it. Come back again and make sure you capture the questions that we are going to walk through in just a bit. But first, I want to talk about two things that you absolutely must keep in mind as you are setting goals for the new year. And I think these are going to serve you very well and they're going to keep you from being one of those people who like hits the gym hard at the beginning of January or hits the diet hard at the beginning of January and by the end of January has already given up. We've got to respect two things. Here's number one. If it didn't work permanently, then it didn't work. Okay. I don't know any other way to say that. I just want to put it out there. And here's what I'm really getting at. And I hear this a lot. I hear this as I talk to people. I coach people from all over the United States, and I talk with people and text with people who need some help with support or rather some support with health and fitness. And something that I hear a lot is, I'm really struggling right now. This is happening. This is happening. I'm not happy with my health. But some time ago, I did this crazy diet and it worked really good. So I know I need to get back on that. Just sit with that for a moment, right? Here's where I am now. I'm not happy with where I'm at, but I did this diet a while ago and I need to get back to it. If it only worked for a little while, in other words, you're not where you want to be, but that was part of your journey, I would say don't go back to it. It didn't actually work. If it only worked for a little bit, it did not actually work, right? This is the workout plan that you did for the month, the nutrition reset that went great for a few weeks, the routine that disappeared as soon as life got stressful. That's not success. That is what I would call the honeymoon effect, right? We use this phrase a lot. The honeymoon is over. And sometimes we use it to apply to actual relationships, but sometimes it's a new house that we got, or a car, or a new puppy, or whatever, right? The honeymoon is over. In other words, the beginning is the easy part. That's when you're excited, you're inspired, you're feeling motivated, and things are easy during that honeymoon phase. That first 2, 3 weeks, that first month, by the end of that, it's like, okay, reality has set in. And with health initiatives and changes that we make on this health journey, the honeymoon phase, that happens all the time. It feels exciting. Motivation is high. Energy improves temporarily. We're feeling results. We're feeling good. But once that novelty fades away, when real life then shows up, the truth is revealed. And maybe what we took on is not going to work. It's not going to actually work for the rest of our lives. So instead of asking, like, what worked, if you still need to make big changes, or you feel the need to like go back to something that maybe worked temporarily, I'm going to do that again. My guess is history is going to repeat itself and it's only going to work temporarily once again. There was a missing piece there last time that needs some adjustment at the very least, or maybe the whole initiative was not set up to fit your life. So instead of asking, what worked, what got me some results, what was I able to stick to for the honeymoon phase, I think it's much more valuable to ask what was still happening once the motivation was gone. Like, what aspect of it stuck with me? So something I learned, a lesson I learned, one aspect of it that I kept doing, right? Maybe I tried the keto diet and I got some great results for that first 2, 3 weeks. And then I got back on the carbs again. But you know what I've been doing is still eating more protein than I used to, right? There's something that stuck with you from it. There's something that stayed after that little honeymoon phase was over. That I think is a good question to ask. But I think we need to abandon this like going back to like, oh, that worked before. I need to get back to that again. We need to get maybe back to that and then some, or maybe that and a little less in order for me to stick with it. Does that make sense? You following me with that? So we're kind of interested in what aspect of it survived the busy weeks, the poor sleep nights, the travel, the stress, the low energy days. Those are the aspects of something that I think really mattered. And as long as we're confident, the aspects that stayed have us moving in a healthy direction. And even if you're thinking, honestly, I tried that thing and it was way too much for my life and nothing survived. There was very little left. It doesn't mean you failed. I know you still learned something valuable. And maybe it was about trying to transform everything overnight, right? And the need now to like take things one step at a time. And we're going to get there in 2026. So that's the first thing, is giving attention to that honeymoon effect and realizing that if it only worked for a little while, it didn't really work. And we can actually kind of move on from that whole concept of like, I need to go back to that. Don't go back to it. Go back or do something different moving forward. And the second thing I want you to keep in mind as you look ahead is this. We have to respect this. I have to respect it. You have to respect it. And that is we're getting older. And I mean that again, personally, I mean that for all of us. Let it land gently, but directly. You're older this year than you were last year. It's not judgment and it's not a problem. It's just reality. Your body's changing. Your responsibilities have changed. Your stress load may have changed. And a lot of people get stuck trying to use old strategies in the current season of life. You know, what worked in your 20s, it's not going to work in your 40s. What worked in your 30s, not going to work in your 50s and beyond. Um, there have been injuries. There are kids. There's caregiving. There's career pressure. There's things that just may not fit anymore. It doesn't mean you're broken. It just means that your approach needs to evolve. You need to adapt to the way life is now, and your approach needs to adapt to the way life is now. And it's not that you're lazy, but sometimes we ignore the capacity that actually exists in our life and the amount of focus and energy that we have to even put toward something that's going to improve our health, no matter how necessary it is that we improve our health. I'll give you a quick example. This is just a for instance, type of situation, right? I know, he's still alive. Uh, just an awesome guy, very sweet guy that did a lot of CrossFit in his youngerest days, right? I'm talking about like 10, 15 years ago, right? So now he's 10 or 15 years older and he hasn't been doing it anymore for some time, but he remembers back to how great he felt and the results that he was getting back there 10 or 15 years ago. And even though he got injured doing it, and since then, life has definitely changed. He's considerably older in his head, getting back to CrossFit and trying to work out the way that he did back then is still kind of like the gold standard of where he sees himself. And if he's not doing that, he's not doing his best. He's not doing what he thinks is best for him. And of course, I'm not gonna tell anybody, hey, what's good for you or not good for you. But I can definitely make some professional recommendations. And I would say to him, adapt your approach because you're older. You know, life has changed. It's okay. That person that you were, and again, it's almost the honeymoon effect as well, right? Like it didn't work. It got you hurt and it got you here now. You haven't worked out now in years consistently. That was in your past. Awesome. You know what? Learn from it. Lifting weights is a good thing, but maybe don't lift them the way that you did back then, right? You could take lessons from it, but the idea is respect the fact that we're getting older. Our capacity is different. Our body is different. And so we need to acknowledge that as we set goals moving forward. And the cool thing is, there is a way to do this that is good for everybody. People in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. I'm working with plenty of people in their 70s, still getting great results, feeling good. There's a way to do this that actually does work for everybody, and we can quickly plug and play and easily adapt it to everybody's individual capacity as well as their physical ability level. But I want to put that before you. A goal for 2026 is not to ignore your capacity. Okay. The goal is to figure out what fits life right now. All right. Does that sound good? I hope that it does. I hope that lands for you because it works. Now, if you have your notes, you've got your notes app or you've got your notebook, or definitely come back to this spot in the show, in this episode, when you have those, because I'm just going to give you, this is going to go very quickly, but I want to give you some questions that I want you to really take seriously and put some good focus into so that we can get the most out of 2025 in terms of what we learn health and fitness wise. We're not scrapping it. We're not throwing it away. We're not saying, oh, it didn't work. I need to overhaul everything. There's some great stuff here. Let's reflect. Let's turn 2025 into something useful as we move forward in 2026. Okay. So I have just four questions for you to ask yourself. When I think back over the past calendar year, when did I feel my best? In 2025, when did I feel my best? Question number one. That's question number one. Okay. Question number two, other end of the spectrum from that first question. When did I feel most run down or overwhelmed? In other words, I think, when did I feel my worst in 2025? Again, no judgment, no guilt. We're trying to look at this. This is like the Sherlock Holmes perspective here, right? We're just looking for clues. It is what it is. It's a fact, right? When I look back over 2025, when did I feel worst? When did I feel run down? When did I feel overwhelmed? When did I feel stressed? Most. Okay. That's question two. Here comes question three. What always seemed to get pushed aside? Hmm. And when you think about that, just the phrasing on that question, let it settle for you. What always seemed to get pushed aside? Right? We would only push something aside if it was something we were trying to keep in life, right? Whatever that aspect of health, talking health and fitness here, right? Although, man, everything in life affects those, really, right? Because we are a whole being. Um, but what always seemed to get pushed aside? What were you trying to keep? You knew it should be there, but kept getting pushed aside and just not getting done. And always, it always seemed to be happening that way. What always seemed to get pushed aside? That's question three. And then the last one, when it comes to health and fitness, during 2025, what felt supportive instead of stressful? Oh, wow, right? What felt supportive instead of stressful, health and fitness wise, in 2025? The goal here is not to add more of a burden to you. The goal is to lighten the burden. If you're approaching this the right way, we're going to be approaching life better, fresher, fuller, more prepared, ready to take it on. Health and fitness helps us to do that. So, what supported that in 2025? When did you feel supported versus, oh, this is an extra burden. This is too much. I can't handle it. And what we're looking for more than results, okay? I don't want you to think about what happened with the scale, etc. But we're looking for patterns. We're looking for patterns mostly in how you felt at different points. Trying to look at those emotions as signals in life that tell us either we're on the right track or we're not on the right track. So we're looking back, we're trying to recap through those emotions that we experienced and look for patterns. What were those feelings telling you? Those messengers, what were they telling you about what was the right direction to go in versus the wrong direction to go in? And if you're finding that every intense plan that you put in place, every time you were like, I'm going to overhaul everything and here we go, you find that it collapsed every time. That's not a discipline issue, that's a design issue, right? If you're finding that, oh, I ran out of motivation, this was all great, and then I ran out of motivation over and over again, I just need to be more motivated. Don't. Strong, healthy people don't rely on motivation. They rely on systems that can survive even in the ocean of life. Systems, not motivation. Okay. So those are your four questions. I want you to really think about it. I want you to capture those, put some thought into that. All right. Let's talk about planning for 2026. Okay. I want you to only have one focus for 2026. One. Can you imagine? Just one thing looking forward. Okay. And I want to help you design that. And then, like I said, I promise you, want to help you set up a little habit, a very small micro habit that you can focus on that is going to make a huge difference in your life because it's one that you're going to choose and that you're going to know is going to make a huge difference in your life. So we'll get there. But first, looking forward, here's the rule: one focus. Okay. One primary focus. So if you've been around here for a while, you know that I talk about six core areas of health. Six of them: eat, drink, sleep, think, move, and touch. Okay. Eat, drink, sleep, think, move, and touch. You probably have an idea of what each of those six areas of health are. Eat, nutrition, drink, hydration, and being aware of the other drinks that we have in life and how they're affecting us. Sleep, of course, that's rest and recovery, and that is actual sleep, 7 to 9 hours a night on a regular schedule with a bedtime and a wake up time. All right. Talk a lot about sleep here. We love it. Think, that's your relationship with you. That's getting that journal out. That's taking some time to control the inside. Okay. Kind of specifically the mental health aspect of this, your relationship with yourself, your awareness of this whole journey and how it's going. This whole episode today, it's a big think one. The reflection piece, super important to acknowledge the power of your mind in this process. That's think, got to be there. And it's a healthy part of being you. It's part of health. Move, you know what move is. Think about it. Maybe in terms of exercise, it's, when we say fitness is what we think about: hitting the gym, lifting the weights, taking a jog, taking a walk. That's move. And the last one, touch. That is about your connection, your outreach to the world around you: people, pets, nature, getting connected, touch, reach out. Super important part, right? Loneliness, dangerous. We know that. So, each of those six, everything that I've ever learned about health fits into one of those categories. And the more I've done this podcast, the more I've dug into it and talked to experts, everything, one of those six. So, this year, I want you to choose one. Choose one. Not because the others don't matter, but because progress requires some clarity. Okay. Ask yourself which one, if I improved it, would make everything else easier. Because that's what we're after, right? If I can improve sleep, the other ones are going to benefit. For example, if I improve sleep, now my relationships improve because I'm better rested. I'm more in control of my actions, my words, my thoughts and feelings. Thanks to good sleep, it improves the touch piece, right? The connection, the relationships, and they're all interconnected. So improving one is going to improve the others. But my question for you is which one, if you moved it forward, if you improved it, would make everything else easier? Kind of move the others as you think about those six: eat, drink, sleep, think, move, touch, right? Better sleep improves your mood, your energy, consistency with life, nutrition, whatever it is. Strength training improves your confidence, resilience. It affects your metabolism in a positive way. The think piece, right? Managing stress, it improves your recovery, your digestion, your ability to focus. Choose one to focus on. Okay. Choose one. to focus on. We're not trying to do a full overhaul. We're not trying to do a full reset. Pick the one that you can move forward on your worst week, because it's not about how well you can do in your best week. It really is about the worst week. If you can move it forward on your worst week and you can commit to doing that, even on your most challenging week of the year, then that is going to serve you well throughout the year. Intensity does not create change. It's not the best week type of scenario. It's the follow through that creates change. It's consistency that creates change. So ask yourself about that worst week. Which one of those could I move forward? Could I make sure move forward even in my worst week out of those 6 elements of health? Now we are going to boil this down like I promised you. A little bit of focus here, even dialing it in further in just a moment here. But before we do that, if you want some support with your health and fitness in 2026, whatever it is, having a conversation like this, building habits that actually fit your life and your age, and staying consistent beyond the honeymoon phase, that's what I do. That's what we love to do at Begin Within. And the 7-day trial, the opportunity to work with us is open. It is free, no credit card required. You could start this year off with guidance, with structure, all from home, all from your phone or whatever device you choose. 7 days is going to get you set up. And whether you decide to continue to work with us or not, that's up to you. But for 7 days, I want an opportunity to help you get settled in terms of this health journey. I want to show you how simple it can be, even just working out at home. Here's what you need to do if you want to get started. Go to beginwithin.fit/7-day and just get it going. Kick it off. Click the blue button on that page and get it set up. You don't need perfection. You need a plan that fits your real life. And I want to help you to set that up. But go there now. It's still open. It is available. Get started. Come on. Let's do this. Just give us 7 days. We're going to make a big difference in your life. I know it. I know it because I see it happen all the time. All right, let's come back to making this simple. I promised you, I'm going to give you something micro, so easy that you could do it on your worst day, during your worst week of your worst month, and maybe even your worst year, 2026. Man, I hope it doesn't. But even if you feel like it is, I still want you to be the healthiest version of yourself. I want you to be able to move forward. So if you could do nothing else right now, can't do the 7 day with Nate and Begin Within, you can't do it. Uh, each of those 6 pillars we talked about, it's too overwhelming. Even to think about one of them is too overwhelming. Here's what I want you to do. Choose, just for the moment, pick the one that you already thought of that's going to affect the others. I don't want you to be overwhelmed right now. Okay. All right. And I want you to think about how that element, the nutrition, the hydration, the movement, the sleep, relationship with yourself, the outreach, the connection with others and the world around you. I want you to think for just a moment about that one element and how it's showing up in your life right now. And I want you to answer this question. What might be the absolute easiest way that that element could show up more fully in your life between today and tomorrow? Okay. Easiest. What might be the easiest way that that element could show up more fully in your life now, like between today and tomorrow? What I mean by that is I could drink a glass of water tomorrow morning. Seriously. I could eat a piece of broccoli with my dinner every night. What's the easiest way that it can show up in your life right now? I could walk to the end of the driveway after I get out of my car in the garage each night when I come home from work, and I'll walk back up instead of going straight into the house from the garage, right? The easiest way. And I want you to just to think easy. I want it to be so ridiculous that you're almost like, come on, that's no, too easy. Good. That's it. If you haven't been doing it before and you start doing it, you're going to be a healthier version of yourself. I want to encourage you to do that, just to focus on that in January or for the next month. If you're not listening to this in January 2026, just focus on it for about a month until you've got it. Yes, I absolutely did it. I took that walk to the end of the driveway and back every single day or every single night when I got home, when I parked the car in the garage. Do it for a month. Then we're going to build on it. Okay. You are going to be a healthier version of yourself having done it. And I know what you're thinking. Nate, it's too easy. It's not going to make a big enough difference. I'm not going to actually see health reflected on the scale or even maybe feel a difference. Here's the difference that you're going to feel: knowing you're doing something. That's huge. That is so huge. It's so underrated. Knowing that you are absolutely, yes, doing something to support your health, taking positive steps. You take one step. Then we're going to take another step from that. Great. 2 pieces of broccoli with dinner. Right? Get the idea? But you'll become a healthier person. You're going to become a person between today and tomorrow that is now taking their health more seriously and doing something about it. It's one of the most powerful lessons I've ever learned and that I have ever taught. Your identity shifts as soon as you take that step. As soon as you drink that glass of water, eat that broccoli, take that walk to the end of the driveway, or whatever it is that you choose, that is the easiest way for that element that you picked of health to show up in your life. One step, one direction changes everything. All right. Don't rush this year. Don't try to fix everything at once. Just begin. Do it the best way. Begin within. Start smart. Okay. Do it with a little bit of wisdom. Do what I'm saying. I promise you it makes a difference and it's going to work. Hey, thank you for being here. Thanks for another year of allowing me to sit here and pass on some information, hopefully inspire you a little bit, give you that opportunity to reflect every single week. Stick around. If you could follow the show or subscribe in your podcast player or YouTube, drop a comment with a question or a topic that you'd love for me to cover in an upcoming episode. That would help me so much. But most of all, keep taking good care of yourself.